So there has been this, I mean, I've been out of this for some time, but there has been this gene.
Oh, yeah.
They called it, back then at least, the language gene, FOXP2. What happened to the thing?
You know that the person who discovered it is also here on campus.
I know
Yeah.
that.
Simon
But I thought
Fisher.
it's unfair. I thought it's unfair to ask Simon, or Dr. Fisher, I shall say. I have never met him in person, directly about this, because I'm sure he would be excited to talk about it. But the reason why I bring this up with you is because in this conversation, this presentation that you had back then, that you were specifically talking about FOXP2.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Because it's actually really cool. If you listen to Simon himself, he says also, like, we never said this is a language gene. That makes absolutely no sense. It's just, I think, how the media picked it up and, I don't know, thought it was fancy enough to put it out there in that way.
Can you, because I know what it is, you know what it is. Can you just tell us a bit about the background of what this gene is? How has it been found?
I think it's a particular family, the KE family in England. And many people in the family showed, I think it was something, right, again, maybe not exactly how it is, but most of it will be right. What at that time was called specific language impairment, and nowadays it's called developmental language disorder. So a lot of the family members had that in combination with dysarthria.
What is that?
Dysarthria is when it's really more at the muscle level, is when there are problems with the coordination of muscles.
Okay.
And so you also get problems with speech, but really from the motor side, whereas the specific language impairment is really, it's more language and not, it's more the real core language thing. So these people will have, if you look at their production, there will be things, especially when things become more complex. Again, the way they form sentences is not always correct. If there are complexities in the not even complexities, but if you use, a relative clause like the man who did this walked out right now, that kind of construction is already more complicated for them to produce. So this family had many members that had this type of deficit. And I think they studied this family quite extensively because there was a whole, I think, lineage, how it's called, right? Mm-hmm. And they found that FOXP2 was affected in this family. So that's how it started. And I think by now there's much more that came, I think, out of those studies, but also other genes that have been linked to, so mutations in these genes linked to quite consistent findings in terms of development. And sometimes it affects language a bit more than just development in general. And then I think what they showed in mice, for example, is if you do something to FOXP2, I need to remember this because I even attended his course at that time. But it's something really at the level of learning. I don't remember if it's exactly sequencing, that you can do that at the motor level as well with animals. But it's something very fundamental in learning itself that seems to be affected, that then has these far-reaching consequences for language as well. But it's not a language gene at all. Okay. So, yeah. But that's not how it should be interpreted.
All right.
Because I think FOXP2 is like genetics is really not my thing, but it controls lots of other mechanisms in terms of development in the brain as well, right? So it's a much deeper thing than being a language gene.
Yeah, because then, I mean, if it was a language gene and other animals that don't have language, that would be now my reasoning.
Like, why would they have a FOXP2?
Why would they have that gene? That would be now my reasoning.
Right.
But I might be too simplistic. Benefit of the doubt to the scientists.
To the media.
Because
I don't think scientists really thought there was a language gene. I don't think they thought that. I think it was really the way the media was talking about this, I really doubt any geneticist thought this was a language gene, because it's a very well-known gene that has it's a very important gene that does all kinds of things, regulates all kinds of things. So I don't think any of the geneticists thought this was a language gene.